Okay, we're live. Welcome into a early morning matinee edition of the real underscore G Warner on Twitter, going through some soccer leagues to talk about some potential bets for today, Tuesday, the 21st of September, also Wednesday and Thursday through the 23rd. We got our midweek action because there's no Champions League, but we got plenty to go through. So without further ado, I will start with the Big Money League in England for some midweek cup action and the EFL or Carabao Cup, if that's still what it's called. There's a bunch of teams I don't know who they are here. Oldham, for example, not sure. Wickham, I've heard of them, but 2 3/4 goal underdog doesn't seem like it's worth talking about because I don't have too much to add. I am looking a little bit into Fulham getting a quarter at home against Leeds. Leeds have really not looked anything like what I was expecting them to look this season. And one of my friends even tabbed them as finishing in a European place. Doesn't look that way so far. Norwich hosting Liverpool, getting a full goal. Seems a little short to me. But who knows what these rosters are going to look like. There's going to be a lot of probably number crunching once lineups come out. In terms of other big potential meetings that we have, or meetings that we do have, Sheffield United hosting Southampton, getting half of a goal is interesting, though they clearly were not at the Premier League level last season. And then moving forward through the League Cup on Wednesday, Brighton hosting Swansea. That's a pretty big number, 1.25. All the juice on the Swansea side. It's just really hard for me to know, A, how hard or serious the championship sides are taking it. I would think they are taking it seriously. B, what the level of interest for the Premier League sides are going to be. Like Chelsea host Aston Villa, currently giving 1.25 goals, which is a low number. And I would think that Chelsea's reserve sides are still significantly better than what Aston Villa is going to put out there if they're reserves. If they're the strong starting lineup, I question exactly why they would do that after a pretty poor start. And then Manchester United hosting West Ham for another rematch, giving a full goal right now with all the juice almost on the Manchester United side. It's again another thing, want to see what lineups look like. And then the last but not least, Wolves favored -1/4 to Tottenham at home. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Even if Tottenham are playing reserves, they're still a lot deeper and better, and Wolves can't score. So that one is very curious to me and suggests that we're going to see a lot of rotation for Tottenham, but I'm not sure that we will. And we'll see what happens with that one. But that is a 2.5 minute plus an intro going through the Carabao Cup. Stay tuned to my Twitter at @the_real_G Warner, as I'll be going deeper on anything that I play. So we're going to move to Serie A. We have some early matches, or at least the earliest one is 12:30 Eastern time start here in the U.S. I'm using BetOnline for all my lines as I just refreshed the site. Starting with Bologna hosting Genoa. Currently, Bologna giving 1/2 goal with an offense that really hasn't done much this season. They're a team that I think under Mihailovic relies on high pressure, which then puts their defense in a tough spot, which is really bad against teams like Atalanta and things like that, though they survived that one earlier this season. Genoa, I think, they're off to a tough start. They haven't played very well. They're in the relegation fight every season, it seems. And I think they've played better than their current standing in the table. Getting 1/2 goal is a pretty big number, though, based on their form, is probably deserved. I thought that this line probably should be 1/4. So I'm interested in Genoa getting 1/2 goal. We'll see where that kicks off and what the lineups look like, as there might be some rotation because these teams just played on the weekend, really. Atalanta then hosting Sassuolo, giving a full goal. Sassuolo played on Friday, so they get some extra rest here. Did not play well. Were controlled throughout by Torino, despite being at home and being a pretty sizable favorite, I thought. Atalanta, though, are not playing well. Their offense doesn't seem to be there. Zapata is now has 3 matches under his belt after returning. We'll see if he starts and what that lineup looks like. Because if Duvan Zapata isn't starting for Atalanta, I think their offense is going to be a lot different. Sassuolo, they seem to be similar as they were to De Zerbi's season or last couple years when he was at the helm. They're playing attacking football, but we're on the back foot the whole match against Torino. I imagine that they probably looked at that and thought that was not how they wanted to play, and that was simply how Torino took it to them. Atalanta are going to be a side that's going to press forward and try to try to score a bunch of goals, which I think is going to be a problem for Sassuolo defensively. But ultimately, Atalanta haven't been able to score. Seems like most of their goals have been pretty fortunate at this point. And so I don't really see a way to that you like really would believe that they're surely going to score a single goal, never mind two. Though clearly the second goal is much easier to score than the first. I think Sassuolo are a live underdog here, getting +1. Where if they score and Atalanta get to 2, you push and walk home with a free movie ticket, basically. I'm interested in Sassuolo. We'll see what happens and what the lineups look like. Fiorentina then getting a half of a goal at home from Inter Milan seemed a little short to me when I first looked at it. Fiorentina, I think, are playing a different brand of football this season. They're a lot more attacking under a new manager with the Nico Gonzalez signing, who I think is huge to really bolster their offense. Now, he got hurt a lot last season. I wonder if they're going to protect him a little bit. Maybe he doesn't start. But still, this number is a little bit short for me. Inter Milan can basically name their score, as they showed this weekend against one of the inferior clubs. I don't think that Fiorentina's defense is as permeable or permissible or will allow Inter to do what it wants. But Inter's offense is off to a great start, besides a poor finishing performance against Real Madrid in Champions League. Moving to Wednesday, Spezia hosts Juve. Currently, Spezia getting a goal and a half against a Juve side that have looked very, very average. Old, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what to blame it on, but they have not looked good. Spezia are going to play on the front foot and try to attack. They've shown that they do that against the inferior sides, and that works against the bottom of Serie A, against Juve, who are not playing well, but still are clearly not the bottom of the league. I think that's a problematic type of strategy to employ. Salernitana then getting a quarter at home against Verona. Verona with a ton of money coming in backing them in a rainstorm against Roma. I don't think it was a weather play. I think whoever is betting this market seriously was really in love with the Verona side against Roma, which is a bit of a surprise to me considering how well Roma started the season. Certainly they had a little bit of a fixture overload playing European competition in the midweek. But still, that was surprising to me because Verona had not played well to start the year. They dropped from like 3/4 of a goal underdog all the way to a quarter, ended up winning in a raucous match that I think they scored 3 goals and Roma scored 2. Pretty entertaining to watch, and also one of those things that I've kind of learned to watch with Serie A is that when the market seems to be picking something that doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense, you don't really want to go against it. Hey, Dijin, thanks for coming in. So Cagliari then, so not much for me to do there. Salernitana played pretty well against Atalanta. Might have even deserved more than their 1-goal loss. But I'm just not sure that I really want to play a team that barely made it into Serie A and has not looked really competitive just yet. Next match is Cagliari hosting Empoli. Currently, Empoli getting a half of a goal. I think the Empoli defense, like most newly promoted sides, is a big problem, and I'm not sure that it looks good enough at this point. Cagliari with a great comeback against Lazio. Pretty impressed by them, though ultimately they took a big lead against Genoa and gave that away, and that seems to be an issue for them recently. Empoli with a big win against Juve might kind of thrown us off the scent that they're really not very good. We'll see. I'm not sure what the number is going to look like, but currently getting a half of a goal. I think Cagliari are a much better side and showed towards the end of last season that they could really get on the front foot and score goals. And I'm just not sure I want to back a new promotion with only getting a half on the road. AC Milan then hosts Venezia, giving a goal in 3/4. The AC Milan offenses look great. They've been playing with a ton of pace, pushing forward a lot against pretty much everybody, all comers, including against Juventus in the last match. Venezia, I think are starting to get a foothold a little bit and playing better in the league, but are still a newly promoted side that was very likely to get relegated, and trying to, once they give up that first goal, stick within 2. Seems like a decent ask against a side like Milan. So I will likely avoid that one and look to Thursday. Torino then hosts Lazio. Currently, Torino getting a 1/4 of a goal, which seemed a little short to me, but Torino played really well. I think have done a lot of business, bringing in some good players that were kind of out of the rotation. For instance, Joseph Brekalo at Wolfsburg, who seemed like he should still be there, but whatever. Torino getting a 1/4 at home seems pretty short against Lazio offense that has been firing on all cylinders. Certainly Lazio defense leaves a little bit to be desired, and Maurizio Sarri has not really taken at least his defensive strategies, and I wonder every match that they keep giving up and shipping goals if they start getting even more conservative, because that seems to be the type of manager he is. I'm just not sure that Torino getting a quarter is enough before I look at lineups. Sampdoria getting half of a goal from Napoli, who have been playing really well. Certainly fixture overload for Napoli compared to Sampdoria, who did great, bringing in Gigi Caputo, whatever his first name is. I could have messed that up. They finally got someone to score goals, which they really badly needed, or still need probably. Napoli can go on the road, giving a half of a goal with all the juice on their side. Maybe that climbs 3/4. I think if I'm going to play Sampdoria, I want a full goal. I'm not sure it gets there. Roma then hosts Udinese, giving a full goal right now, which is questionable based on how they close a quarter goal favorite on the road to Verona. Udinese, they sold a lot of players, Rui de Paul. That's something that they do regularly, though, so I'm not sure that's out of their character. Getting a full goal as a defensive side, they're going to try to make Roma really work to score is interesting to me. The Roma have been scoring at will so far this season. Next, moving to La Liga, as we're 10 minutes in. Getafe hosting Atletico Madrid. Currently, Getafe getting 3/4 of a goal at home, which seems really short to me that Atleti should be giving more than a goal, even with the athletic problem or the goal scoring problems that Atleti have. Getafe can't score, and once they give up one, you're a loser. So unless they keep a clean sheet, which seems very unlikely as they don't do that, not sure how you could back Getafe here getting sub 1. Athletic Club then hosting Rayo Vallecano, currently giving 3/4 of goals themselves, with all the juice on the Rayo side, so maybe this might fall to a half. It's a little more respect than I was expecting for Rayo to get. I'm not sure I'm a believer in Rayo just yet, but they've been playing better after starting the year off woefully bad. Athletic Club, I think scoring goals is still a problem for them. They want to sit back, defend, counter, and they're not really going to have the opportunity to do that, I don't think, at home against Rayo. But they certainly are the better club, and I'm not sure that Rayo is going to score here. Levante then hosting Celta de Vigo in a match of teams that are underperforming so far. To pick them right now, which is more juice on the Celta de Vigo side, which is surprising to me because I don't really have much respect for Celta's defense at all, and their offense really hasn't been doing well enough this season either. Levante as an underdog would be probably on my card. I'm not sure that they'll climb to a quarter before this kicks off this afternoon. Moving to Wednesday, Espanyol hosting Alaves. Currently, Espanyol giving half of a goal with most of the juice on their side, which is a bit of a surprise to me because they haven't really scored very well. Had a great match against Real Betis, rescuing a point in the final minutes. Alaves dealing with a ton of injuries, and we'll see because this weekend they couldn't play a bunch of players they wanted to or had some late fitness failures. I'm not sure after just a couple days off that they're going to get back to a full lineup, but I imagine they're going to try to push as much as they can in because they have started off the year really poorly. And getting half of a goal from newly promoted side that can't score is a big number, but I want to be cautious about who's actually going to be in that lineup because they were playing a bunch of guys that didn't seem like they were at the races this weekend. Sevilla then hosts Valencia. Currently, Sevilla giving 3/4 of a goal. With all the juice on their side, might climb to a full goal. Valencia with a heartbreaking loss this weekend to Real Madrid, up 1 and giving up 2 goals after the 86th minute, but it happens. And I imagine that they're going to try to really sit back even further on defense and make Sevilla try to puncture them, which I think Sevilla giving a full goal, since I'm interested in the Valencia side with that full goal of insurance, that Sevilla's offense still is not perfect. It's not really great. They're going to control the ball and maybe get a goal late in the match, I think, and that would be a push if you get the full +1. We'll see what happens with that number, but I'm interested in Valencia. They've still got offensive players, and they're playing with a defensive mentality, which I think is important for them because they didn't have it the last 2 seasons. Real Madrid then hosts Mallorca, currently giving a goal in 3/4. Big number for Real Madrid to lay, but they can score goals. And Mallorca, I have real questions about how many they're going to score, even against a weaker Real Madrid back line. Villarreal then hosts Elche, giving a full goal. Gerard Moreno missed this past weekend, and they didn't have any offense to speak of. I'm not sure that they will suddenly get him back or that he'll be more than a substitute. Even if he starts, I'm not sure what he'll bring. So Elche getting a full goal, who have done some good business, added some offensive players they really needed. That's interesting to me, and I think Elche +1 will probably make it to my card. Moving to Thursday, Osasuna hosting Betis. Currently, Osasuna giving a quarter. Betis, they're going to have some real issues on defense with center backs suspended, injured all over the place. I'm not even sure if they're going to have to bring up a youth player or something like that to play there. That's a big problem, even though Osasuna's offense is really not great. I think if Betis were healthy at a quarter, I'd probably want to play them. I'm not sure what that lineup's going to look like, though, and I've kind of learned my lesson with backing center backs that are unknowns because they can make big mistakes, kind of like an unknown keeper, but I think even more problematic. Granada then hosts Real Sociedad. Currently, Granada getting half of a goal, all the juice in their side, so that might be falling down to a quarter. I think the Real Sociedad defense is a problem, but I'm not sure Granada are going to exploit that. They're really old up top, and their defense has always been problematic, or at least it has been the last season. Plus, the new manager, I think, is going to be a little bit more defensive, but I don't know. There's not a lot that I want to do here because I think Sociedad, if they score, Granada are going to have a really tough time replying. And I think it's going to be hard for Granada to keep a clean sheet. Cadiz then hosts Barcelona in the last match of this La Liga round. Cadiz currently getting plus a full goal right now with most of the juice on the Barcelona side. It still seems short to me, even with Barcelona's shortcomings. I think Cadiz are going to surrender possession. They're one of the lowest possession teams in the big 5 leagues in Europe. It shouldn't change for this match. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but Barcelona giving a full goal seems a little short to me, and I'll look to see that climb. Now moving last but not least to Ligue 1, as they're still weeks ahead of their other leagues, but somehow are still playing a midweek round. Don't really know why, but whatever, going through it. Lille hosting Reims, currently giving 3/4 of the goals, which seems way too high considering how Lille has been a disaster to start the season. Reims, I think, also are better than people expect, can score, unlike they really were doing last year. They have a Celta de Vigo defensive-minded manager, and I think they'll make it really hard on Lille, so that will be on my card. This is Wednesday the 22nd. Monaco then hosting Saint Etienne, giving a full goal. With what offense? Honestly, they kind of had a miraculous draw in the on Sunday, I think it was, in the early match at Nice. Some credit for that, but we're a favorite on the road, which made no sense to me. Saint Etienne, they certainly are no prom queen, but they've been improving since the end of last season, and I think are playing fairly well. And Monaco are going to have real trouble scoring that first goal, never mind a second, to cover the spreads or cover the goal spread. Montpellier then hosting Bordeaux, giving half of a goal is a big number considering Montpellier has been pretty disrespected ever since they kind of sold off their heart and soul offensive attacking players. Still have plenty of offense on that team. I think defense is their problem. Bordeaux playing better despite their financial issues. I've been avoiding them, but they've been playing pretty well, I think, for the last few weeks. And kind of are looking like a side that are trying to get back to the glory days. It's going to take a while, and who knows if they have the money to pay for people. But they've been playing well and getting half of a goal from a side that just sold their 2 best attackers with a questionable defense is of interest to me a little bit at least. Nantes then hosting Brest, currently giving a 1/4 of a goal. With all the juice in the Nantes side, so this might climb to a half. Nantes played really well this weekend, but I don't know where that offense deserves to be a half a goal favorite. Brest, I think, played pretty well this weekend as well. Their defensive side, they're going to make it hard on Nantes to score. And I think I'm interested in Brest if it climbs to a half of a goal. Rennes then hosts Clermont Foot. Rennes currently giving half of a goal, but all the juice on the Clermont side. I'm not sure if this falls to a 1/4, but if it does, that seems a little bit cheap. Clermont Foot have basically come up as a newly promoted side, played on the front foot, and are going to go forward and try to attack. Which is refreshing, but also can be problematic against better clubs. I think Rennes with space are going to be able to score. I think Rennes struggle the most against teams that are going to defend them and make them really try to break down a back line that's sunk in and really compact. I'm not sure Clermont Foot is going to play that way. Angers then hosting Marseille as still one of the biggest surprises, even taking a heavy defeat this weekend. Angers getting a 1/4 of a goal at home. Seems a little short to me based on how Marseille is playing. We'll see what happens with lineups as Marseille's have kind of been all over the place lately. But I guess as an underdog player, Angers at home getting a 1/4 is somewhat of interest to me, but it's probably going to be a little too low. All the juice on Marseille side maybe means this climbs a little bit higher than that, though, and then Angers come into a play range. Lorient then hosting Nice, currently getting a 1/4 of a goal. Lorient have been getting a fair amount of respect from odds makers this season, have played fairly well. I think their defense has been better than people expected. Nice defense is great, just gave up their first goal and 2 goals of the entire season. Deserve better than the draw this weekend, but it is what it is. And I guess drawing a top side isn't so bad. And then I think Lorient only getting a 1/4 at home is not enough for me because Nice are very unlikely to give up a goal and probably unlikely to give up 2. And I think their offense is better, even with Dolberg coming off injured last weekend. Metz hosting PSG, currently getting a 1.5 goals. And Mets have not been playing very well. They're kind of in a doldrum, drop down, trough period, whatever, for their performance. PSG really struggled with Lyon as big favorites, which I mean probably was just insane that they even got priced the 1.5 or 1.75 they were to Lyon at home. But the Messi, Mbappe, Neymar lineup still isn't looking great. Questions about who's going to take that penalty last week, but converted by Neymar, if I remember correctly. Mets just don't seem to play the way that I'd want to play, which is a defensive-minded brand of football against PSG. So that looks really scary, only getting a goal and a half. Lyon then hosting Troyes, currently Lyon giving a goal and a quarter. Seems a little short to me. Troyes have, I think, started off the year well, got a little bit more respect because they played PSG tight and had them on their back foot, almost taking a point. Lyon's offense we know is going to be there. It's going to score goals. I don't know about their defense really, but I'm not sure that Troyes are a team that really are going to cause too many problems there, especially with Ripard missing, I think, the last match. I'm not sure if he's injured or what the deal is, but he wasn't there. And then last but not least, Lens hosting Strasbourg. I've been all over the place on Strasbourg. Thought they're going to be good coming into the year. I've lost a million times backing them so far this season, and then went against them and they smashed Mets in the last match in a derby match that had an early penalty because Wakija, the Mets keeper, was just out of his mind and too aggressive and gave away an early penalty, and that kind of shifted the match, and Strasbourg really put their foot down on the accelerator and ran away. Lens have been playing really well. Great business club that's added a ton of great players at reasonable costs, prices, sold some, but still added new ones in and have been playing really well. Lens giving half of a goal, though, is a bit big of a number for me right now to Strasbourg based on my opinion of them entering the season. It's kind of fluctuated, as I've said, and gone down mainly lately. But getting a half of a goal, despite all the juice on the Strasbourg side, maybe this falls to a quarter and I can avoid it. But I think at a half of a goal, Strasbourg, if they go in and get a draw at Lens and that's a full winning bet, that's interesting to me, at least what I'm currently looking at. The Strasbourg defense has been pretty bad. It was a little bit better last week. I'm not sure that I believe too much in that because they took a really early lead and were able to counter, and that made the scoreline look all over the place, blah, blah, blah. I think Strasbourg, they do have some goal scorers, though. Lens have some of their own, but I think the Strasbourg ones are more accomplished and worth more in transfer market, whatever that means. So getting half of a goal on Strasbourg as it currently sits is interesting to me, at least at this hour. So that's 22 minutes. I'm the real _G Warner. Thanks for coming in. I hope this was, I know it was rapid and brief, but I hope that you got some sort of color. Had a great weekend last weekend and try to keep that going for this week. Anyway, thanks to the viewers and the downloads and all sort of things. If you want this to be on some other platform, let me know. Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube. On Twitter, you can click on it and not leave the app. I'm trying to do the best I can to make this available everywhere. Questions, go to @thereal_G Warner on Twitter, though. That's the best place to get me. Thanks for coming, and I will see you guys soon.